So we're gonna go over how to kind of highlight and contour and get that, Kim Kardashian look. It's really simple. There's a lot of tricks that you can do, and there's a lot of different things you can kind of play around with if you're not happy with a particular area of your face. It's actually a great tool to minimize and maximize and just kind of, change up things. So I will show you some of my tips and tricks, and hopefully you'll find them useful. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of all over foundation. So for this, again, I'm just using my NARS Sheer Glow and my Duo Fiber brush. And I'm just going to apply this. And I'll start, using a circular motion. I'm going to apply it over my face. I'm not going to put it under, like, in this triangle. I'm not putting it. And I'm not putting it up here. This I'm going to do all over, but I will do the contouring just on one side of my face. So this I will just do under the eye, and you can see. On this side though, I'm not going to put it under the eye, which is the right way. So once you've done that and you have your foundation on, now we're going to put something in those areas that you didn't put it. For this we're using, I'm using MAC Prep and Prime, and this is kind of their highlighting cream. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it underneath my eye. And you're really going to put it in a kind of upside down triangle like that. The more you put, obviously, the more highlight you get. You want to use a shade that's lighter than your skin, not too light, but something that's going to give you a nice glow. And then I'm just going to blend it in. And then here you're just going to blend it with the foundation so you don't have like a harsh line. I'm not going to put it on this side, but obviously you do both sides. And then what you want to do is using that same stick, you'd want to put it here, down here, in your Cupid's bow, and in your chin. So I'm just going to put some more there. If you were highlighting, contouring, highlighting, this is where you would have it. So you put it in all of these areas, and then again, just blend it in. And I really like it up here because I think it just really brightens your face. So I really like putting it, in this area. Okay, so then once you've done that, you just want to set your foundation. So I'm just using this Tarte Smooth Operator. There's a lot of different setting powders that you can use, but this is just really good for kind of keeping everything in place and then getting rid of any of that gross kind of sticky feeling that you get from using a liquid foundation. So once that's done, that's kind of the basis of your contouring. The next thing you're going to do is you're actually going to do your cheekbones. So for this, there's two ways to do it. The first way is you can take your brush, and first of all, the brush is really important. I was using this because it has a pointed tip, but it was too fluffy. It didn't give me enough definition, and it kind of just made like too big of a line. So I just got this brush, which is I think the MAC 109. This is great. It's really condensed. It's tiny. It picks up a ton of color, and it gives you a really small line, so you can get really defined cheekbones and really precise contouring. So it's really important that you invest in a good brush, or even if you don't want to spend money to buy a MAC one, just make sure you buy something that's going to give you the right shape. I've seen really thin, I don't have any, but the very thin ones, where you can kind of go like this. Those are great too. Just make sure that the brush is, something that that you can, really kind of play up the lines with. So for my contouring, now it's really important for what you're using. You want to use something matte. Never use a shimmery bronzer. Tons of shimmery bronzers out there. There's different places on your face to apply those, and I'll show you that. But you never want to use a shimmery bronzer as you're contouring. It's not the same product, not going to give you the same effect, and it's going to look horrible. So don't do it. So I'm using Benefit, this Hoola. I'm sure everyone's seen or heard this. Mine's kind of beaten up, but it's a great product. And it's just a matte, mine's empty, but it's just like a matte brown, you know, very simple. I use the Bare Minerals Warmth a lot. It's a couple different things you can use, but like I said, just make sure it's something that's dark and that is matte. So the first thing you want to do is you can do this two ways. You can take your brush and angle it down. You can roll it till you find your cheekbone, and then till you find the hollow underneath your cheekbone. You can do that, or you can make a fish face and then put it in the hollows of your cheekbone then. So basically what you want to do is you want to take this darker contouring powder, put it right underneath your cheekbone. So you only really want to bring it to here. If you bring it down too far, it's gonna look weird. So just kind of bring it, you know, wherever it looks most natural in your face. You want it to look like a shadow. Then you want to just put a little, you don't want to put it really far in, but just enough that it kind of, the shadow goes down with it. Okay? And then you want to take it and you want to put it on your temple and along like your hairline. And that's really just how you do like the actual face. Very simple. You can already see the difference. This side of my face looks, you know, thinner, looks more defined, looks just kind of more precise and nicer. Whereas this side, you know, you have my round cheek and it doesn't look as nice. And then I always like putting on my jawline as well. Don't put it actually under your chin. You really just want to go to like here and here. And what that will do is if you have, you know, a double chin or you don't have a very defined jawline, it will really define it. So, you know, just kind of underneath, like so. So basically you want to kind of make a 3. So starting here, going to that hollow, and going down to your jawline. And I'm not going to do the side so you can see kind of the contrast. Now the next thing you can do, well, I'll come back to that. So then if you want to put your blush on, for the blush, you just take your blush brush and you want to put it on the actual cheekbone. So now with the blush, if you have a round face like mine, you know, they always say put it in the apples of your cheeks. So, you know, that would be like here. If you have a round face, that is going to make your face look fat. It's going to make your face look extra round, extra, you know, just pudgy. It's not a good look. If you have a very angular face, perfect. That will kind of give you some roundness to your face. So really think about, you know, your own specific face shape or the face shape of the person that you're applying the makeup to before you do it, because you don't want to do something, you know, that everyone's like, oh, apply it this way, but it doesn't look good on you. So just really, you know, kind of play around with it and think about it. But if you do have a round face like mine, just put it on that cheekbone. You can do a little like here, but even that I don't like. I really just kind of, I'm not a big huge blush fan. So I really just do it on the cheekbone. And I don't like putting anything really in this spot. Once you're done with that, then you can actually apply the highlighter. So for this, I'm just using a duo fiber brush. You can really use any brush for this. You could use this one, you know, you could use your foundation brush, you know, whatever, as long as it's clean. You could use an angled one, like a blush brush. It's totally fine. I'm just using this duo fiber. And for this, I'm using this, actually, I'll use this, my Hoola, so you can kind of see it better. I'm going to use my Benefit High Beam, only just because it comes out a little bit thicker than the one I was going to show you. So what you want to do is you want to do like a V, like from here, kind of like a check mark actually. And that's where you want the highlighter. So it's above that cheekbone. yeah, it's above your cheekbone. It's right up there, and it's coming out from that corner of your eye. And then blend it in. This stuff actually is really, really nice. I would put a finishing powder over it, but I really like this for highlighter. It works pretty nicely. I was going to use this Smashbox Soft Light Fusion. This stuff is nice too, but it doesn't go on, it doesn't give as much of it, doesn't catch the light as much as the High Beam does. It just depends, you know, what you want, what kind of finish you want to use. Okay, so that's the basics of your face. The next thing you can do with contouring and highlighting is sculpting some features that you may not like. So for example, the blush, that would be an example of sculpting, because if you have a round face, you're going to sculpt it by only putting it on your cheekbones and thus giving you, as you can see on my face, a more defined kind of, you know, it fakes cheekbones, it fakes, you know, it's not as round. You can see when I smile, it just helps the cheeks. Now let's say, for example, that you don't like your nose. One way you can minimize it is you can put contouring powder, put the bronzer on the sides of your nose. And then use that highlighter down the middle. And if you want, you know, you can use the High Beam over that MAC stuff that we used, or you could use that. It's up to you. And that's just really going to slim out your nose. It's going to start to look weird on me because my nose is not that big. It's going to look too small for my face, but that's really, if you want to slim out your nose, especially if you don't like the tip of your nose, great way to do it. So you can see already my nose shape has changed. If you think your nose is too long and you want to kind of shorten it, put some on like this part of your nose. You can see, again, it looks weird, but you know, my nose looks shorter. Changes the shape of your nose, thusly changing the shape of your face. Another thing that you can do if you want to, you know, just kind of play up, if you know, your forehead. This is another thing this is one of the things that you should think about when you're doing this on your forehead. So I said you want to put this contouring powder here and then the highlighting here. If you have a very big forehead, you're going to want to bring the contouring powder down, you know? You're going to want to bring it, do it on me, but further down you bring it, the smaller it's going to make your forehead look. And then, you know, you're really it's going to minimize that. Same thing if you have a really small forehead, you don't want to put any contouring up there. You want, you know, you'd want to bring the highlight up so you make your forehead look bigger. That's a great thing to do. Let's see what else. Another thing is if your lips are really small, putting a highlight in this Cupid's bow is going to make your lip look bigger. Just makes them automatically look, you know, thicker and fuller. Another thing too for your lips, which I'll go over in other videos, is if you do want to make your lips look bigger, apply your lip gloss only to the center of your lip. And this is a colored one, so this isn't going to work quite as well, but it really makes your lips look bigger because it draws focus to the middle and makes the middle look like that. So those are just kind of some tips and tricks of highlighting and contouring. Like I said, the biggest thing with this is kind of understand the concept. The concept is anything that you want to minimize, you want to use that dark color to make it look like a shadow, to make it look smaller. You know, you're making your nose look smaller, you're making the tip of your nose look smaller, your forehead look smaller. Anything you want to highlight, you're going to use, you know, anything you want to look bigger or maximize, you're going to use the highlight. So, you know, you're making your cheekbones look higher, you're making your forehead look bigger, you know, you're making your nose look thinner. all these, your lips, all these different things. So I think it's really important that you just kind of play around with this on yourself and just see, what does putting contouring in this area do? What does in that area do? Because there's so much that you can do with it, and it's such a good trick to kind of have. It's kind of like the Wonder Bra for your face. And it just can be really useful. So those are kind of my tips and tricks. There's a lot of other ones out there. Like I said, practice, practice, practice. You'll find what works for you. And then you should be able to, use these tricks and kind of play up the areas of your face that you like the most.